That night, Crow came to my room again, telling me she couldn't sleep. However, the reason she couldn't sleep was a little different from last time.
明日が楽しみで眠れぬなんてことがあるのだな。
It wasn't the same anxiety and loneliness she felt before. She was grinning like a little kid excited for a field trip. Well, that's a sign that your day-to-day lifestyle is fulfilling. I'd say it's a good thing. That was my answer. The incident at lunch didn't have any lasting effects, so I was just fighting off the urge to sleep as we sat around chatting. Though the image had definitely been seared into my mind.
今日な、お主の勧めで学校に通うようになって思ったのだ。人として生きるのも悪くないと。
You must have been thinking hard about that. That was definitely surprising to hear.
この体の不便さや授業というやつには苛立ちもするが、夏の暑さも汗も、その汗をかくことで心地よく感じる風も、この夜の静けさも好きなのだ。何よりも自由に人間と触れ合えることは我が輩にとって刺激的だ。もちろん我が輩の望みは神に戻ることではあるのだがな。
When things don't go exactly the way you expect them to, it's not all that uncommon to have more fun than you expected to as well, so just chill out.
そうか、それならよかった。
Crow showed me a sweet smile.
ありがとう。
What for?
お主が時計の所有者で我が輩を喜ばせてくれるのだから、感謝するのは当然のことだ。
Oh. I could only give that one careless answer, which I mumbled faintly under my breath. Despite the fact that nothing but sarcasm came out of her mouth before, Crow was turning into a surprisingly nice girl. Anyway, you should get to bed, otherwise you'll be tired tonight.
もう少しこの夜を楽しみたいのだが。
I'm getting tired though.
なんだ、我が輩と話すのはつまらんか？
No, it's quite fun actually.
そうであろう？
Crow gave a pleasant smile, evidently pleased at my answer. Then she quietly gazed up at the moon. She almost seemed as if she were in a trance. Ah, I understood then why Crow had become so human-like. She had gained a much wider variety of smiles than she had previously had. Hey, Crow.
どうした？
I hate to put the damper such a good mood here, but living life as a human won't just be nothing but beer and skittles. You'll encounter no shortage of things in the future that you would find annoying or unpleasant. I've said this to you before, but you'll probably start to feel those emotions sooner rather than later. Crow returned a blank expression. I had chosen to shoulder the responsibility of protecting Crow, so this was something I needed to tell her. For sake of example, you could say it's a bit like traveling to a foreign country. In the course of that journey, language barriers and cultural differences may cause hardships, but even those can become happy memories later on down the road. However, choosing to settle down in a foreign country is an entirely different matter. Personally, I've done well at keeping good company with my friends, so you might not realize it yet, but there will eventually be people in your life who don't like you, and there will be people who you don't like. I just wanted you to know that. No, that wasn't quite right. Maybe I'm not one to say this, but even if there are some individual people that you don't like, I don't want you to hate all of humanity because of them.
お主はやはり変なやつだな。
What's that about? I'm being serious here.
わかっておるよ。忠告はありがたい。だが、そうだな。せっかくの機会だ。少しだけ我が輩のことでも話そうか。お主にこういう話をする必要はないだろうと、これまで避けていたのだが。
What is it? While I was trying to tell Crow something of importance, I suddenly felt as though she turned the tables on my conversation, which left me confused.
我が輩はもともとお主の言う人間の負の面を先に体験してきたのだ。我が輩の時計の力を最も活かせる場所はどこかわかるか？
Where?
戦場だよ。
Crow answered her own question before I could. The battlefield? That's not a word you hear very often in the course of everyday life.
人の尺度で長い時を我が輩は観察者として過ごしたが、過去時計の力が最も尊ばれたのは戦場だ。
Crow reiterated her statement to me.
時計の力があればどれだけの傷を負おうとも命さえ残していれば無傷の状態に戻れる。たとえ爆撃で体を吹き飛ばされようとも時計も同時に壊れることで死をなかったことにできる。アマツさえそういう経験を知っていることで相手に逆襲をすることさえ可能だ。つまり生きるために人が人を殺す光景と他人を殺すために力が振るわれる場所が我が輩の居場所だったのだ。そして現代においても戦場は経済に形を変えて存在している。お主の暮らす沢渡のこの屋敷も一握りの人間には過ぎた勝利の産物だ。別の誰かが成功したかもしれない未来を潰した上で成り立っている余分な富だ。我が輩にとっての人間はそういう生臭い死と欲望の塊だったのだ。
My eyes were agape. Crow had never been one to talk about herself, so asking about her past had never occurred to me. I never even realized what manner of horrors Crow had seen. Oh, I tried to say something to follow up on everything she had told me, but I didn't even know what I could say about it all. All the same, Crow showed me a gentle smile.
そのような顔をするでない。だから我が輩はご主人に感謝しておるという話なのだぞ。そんな我が輩の力をお主は恋愛だの女子との繁殖だの他人のためだのとつまらないことにしか使わなかった。もちろん時代や環境に恵まれているというのはあるだろう。だがそんなつまらないことが我が輩にも面白かった。そして今やその面白さに自分で触れることができる。人を嫌いにはならんよ。好きになってしまったことは我が輩にとって予想外だったかもしれないがな。それだけだ。
Crow ended the conversation there, just as if she had closed the cover on a book she just finished reading. I see. Those two words were all I needed to say in response. Crow understood humans. For her, happiness was simply living day to day without seeing such horrors. She understood just how precious that was, and in all honesty, since I was lucky enough to have been born in modern-day Japan, that kind of ordinary happiness was something I took completely for granted. But there was no helping that.
随分と長話をしてしまったな。
Crow yawned out loud. If you're enjoying conversing so much, then I wouldn't mind staying up a bit longer.
さっきとお互いに言ってることが逆になっているぞ。
You're right. Well, maybe I should turn in too. I yawned too, as if it were contagious. Yeah, it was time to sleep. Until tomorrow, when I'd be able to see all the different varieties of smiles Crow had obtained once more.
そろそろ本格的な夏ですね。
Whenever I took Michiru by the hand and walked her to school, I always got a gentle smile in return. You mean the humidity?
いいえ、私は兄様の手で季節を感じるのです。
So you mean to say my hand is a little sweaty? I would have wiped it off if I could, but Michiru held onto my hand tight.
恥ずかしがらなくてもよろしいですのに。
Well, you always did have a lower body temperature.
とっとと行こう。暑くてかなわん。
The ex-goddess had already been completely spoiled by life in an air-conditioned space. Are you okay, Didi? I checked with her before we left, since I had to worry about her getting heat stroke more than any of the others.
私のわがままボディのことでしたらご心配なく。日本の夏にも慣れてきましたし、最近は調子も良いことです。 DD さんの体のどこがわがままなんです？将来性です。だから遊んでないで行くぞ。
Crow held onto the back of my shirt as we walked. At this rate, she was going to end up stretching it. The four of us walked the usual road to school. Summer break was slowly approaching and there weren't any new developments on the horizon. The days ahead looked to be calm and peaceful. Having heard Crow's story about her gloomy past, I understood how these peaceful times were the happiest days for us humans. But regardless of that, I'm bored.
兄様の悪い癖が。
Michiru sighed.
そろそろ退屈な生活に飽きてくる頃だと思いましたが、命がかかっているのですから自重してくださいね。
I didn't even say anything yet.
兄様は刺激に飢えていますよね。この夏はいっぺんにいろいろなラブを体験してますからね。余計に違いがストロングなんでしょう。
I still haven't said anything yet.
つまらんという一言だけで我が輩ですら嫌な予感しかせんがな。
Et tu, Brute?
とにかく夏、制服、デート、モノレールとこの辺りに強く関わることは避けてくださいね。
At least until summer's over, right? It'd only be for a few months, but a few months can seem like a long time.
個人的には今の学園にいる間は危ないので恋人作りは自重していただきたいですが。
Come on, don't put the kibosh on my youthful years already.
お嬢様はご主人様がフリーの期間が長いほど自分が有利になるからですね。
Bullseye, huh?
油断も隙もあったものではないな。
Putting aside Michiru's usual scheming self for a moment, getting a girlfriend wasn't what had me worried, rather it was the opinion they had of me. Hey, am I really that untrustworthy? I asked with a serious face. At that, the three of them went quiet and looked at each other for a moment. Evidently, Didi had been wordlessly chosen as their representative.
当たり前です。
I think they have a kinda weird opinion of me.
いや、私なんで登校してきたばかりで廊下に連れ出されてそんな話を聞かされなきゃいけないの？
I thought you would sympathize. As she said, this was right after we got to school. I couldn't fathom what the other girls had said about me. Even I wouldn't try to make a move on a girl if it would get me killed.
わかるけどさ。
Oh, that's good to hear.
いや、DD さんとかみちるちゃんの気持ちがわかるって話だけど。
Et tu, Brute? What a disappointment. No, I mean, I won't deny that I wanted to get a girlfriend this summer.
で、いたいけな少女5人もそのどこかにかけたわけだね。この鬼畜さんめ。
Now that's just uncalled for. Besides, was it actually 5? Makoto, Michiru, Misaki, Didi, and... oh, she was counting Miu. But like, I didn't force any of them into that, and even if I've ended up with a harem, I don't even have any memories of doing anything sexual. Doesn't that matter at all?
なんで自信なさそうになってるの？
Well, you know, I just feel bad for all the other girls.
そういうことか。
Makoto suddenly smiled. What?
レイ君の誤解は逆だよ。逆っていうか、変な考え違いしてるのかな。珍しいね。
Huh?
レイ君が落ち着かないのはさ、つまらないんじゃなくて、誰の気持ちにも応えてあげられない今の状況のせいだよ。普段からふざけてるけど、レイ君はどっちかというと根っこが真面目すぎだよね。
I am?
まあ、聞いてよ。
Makoto raised her hand up like a conductor.
私風にはそれは義理がたいってことなんだけど、レイ君がただ女の子と付き合いたいってだけの男の子ならみんな心配しないと思う。だけどレイ君はきっと好きになった子のためなら何でもしちゃう。流されてじゃなくて自分の意志でだから止められない。それがみんなには怖いんだよ。
I realized that Makoto's voice and expression had suddenly become very serious. You can't change an individual's will. That was something I recalled telling Makoto before our little dice rolling game. I see. After thinking about it for a moment, I was convinced. In other words, I wasn't being thought of as a fool or a clown.
死ぬと分かっていても義理人情のために日本刀一本で相手の組に飛び込んじゃう用心棒みたいで信用されてないってことかな。
Only you would use an example like that. But for the most part, she was right. So that's how people see me. Well, that's a relief.
いつものレイ君ならすぐに気づきそうな話なんだけど。
Makoto gave a wry smile. I guess I never really thought about it because everyone stopped me from doing that. It was also probably because Crow wasn't a ghost anymore, so I couldn't talk to myself to get another perspective either. Oh, Makoto, thank you.
別にいいけどさ、こういう話を他のことはしないのに私とは気軽にしちゃうんだからちょっとうかつだよね。レイ君が手を抜いたのは私が相手の時だけだし。
Careless? And I went easy on you? I looked at her curiously, unsure of what she meant.
他の子を相手にしてた時はレイ君はいろいろと必死だったでしょ。でも私が時計の影響でおかしかった時、レイ君はすぐ時計を奪えたのにしばらく遊んでたよね。非日常な事件で楽しかったからでしょ。
I couldn't deny what she said about my adventures with the other girls. Well, you know, seeing your naked body just threw me for a...
ここでそれは言わないで。
Makoto hastily covered my mouth.
誰かに聞かれたらどんな誤解をされるか。いや、誤解じゃないからまずいのかな。
Her bright red face was so close to mine. She was cute and her hand on my mouth was really soft. I wanted to lick it.
お主らは何を騒いでおるのだ?
Crow's condescending voice rang out from inside the classroom as she peeked out. And then, seeing Makoto with me as well, her brows furrowed even more.
人さらいか。身代金はたっぷり払ってもらえそうだよね。本気なのか?
It was an obvious joke, but Crow still took it seriously. Then she leapt towards me and Makoto.
ダメだ! おっと。
Makoto quickly dodged Crow's attack, or rather, Crow was so slow that Makoto only had to step out of her way. Stumbling over her feet, Crow got between us again, as if to shield me from Makoto.
いかんぞ! ご主人は我が輩の... クロちゃん? なんじゃ! 冗談だから、冗談.
Makoto held out her hands in a display of innocence. Crow turned to look at me instead, and I just returned a blank expression. We were just screwing around, I guess.
なんだ。そうだったのか。紛らわしいことをしようって。
I'm more surprised that you ran in and tried to save me.
この女子の場合、人さらいというのも冗談にならんところがあるだろう。
そんな警戒しないでよ。
Makoto bent over to look more closely at Crow's guarded expression.
なんじゃ、我が輩の顔に何かついておるのか？
そうじゃなくて。
Why don't you try reading her palm?
いや、占いしてるわけじゃないし。
Makoto brushed me off, instead focusing her gaze intently on Crow. Crow, who didn't understand what was going on, looked back and forth between me and Makoto. I was starting to get suspicious too, but then Makoto finally pulled her face away.
そっか。わかった。
何がだ？
クロちゃんも女の子だなって。私も覚悟を決めないとな。
Having said that as carefree as could be, Makoto strode back into the classroom Crow had just come out of.
何だったのだ？
Don't ask me. Here I thought that Makoto and I were the most alike, and that her feelings were quite easy to understand. Or maybe it was precisely because we were so alike that I couldn't tell what she was up to. More importantly, were you trying to protect me from Makoto just now?
そうだが。
Don't be an idiot. You're way smaller than me.
そうだな。それはさすがにその通りだ。全く意味がない。
Well, I appreciate the sentiment. I patted Crow on the head, which made her scowl melt away.
そうであろう？我が輩をもっと褒めるがよい。
I'll praise you as much as you want, but don't do anything too dangerous.
おっと、そうであった。我が輩を守るのがお主の役目か。
Then the bell rang.
授業からも守ってくれると良いのだが。
Do you want me to help you study tonight?
勉強は昼間だけで十分だ。
I went back into the classroom, dragging Crow behind me as she shook her head from side to side. After that, it was same old, same old. Come the end of 4th period today, Crow's battleship had been totally sunk.
お前は回復ポイントか何かなのか?
Shuji commented on Crow's habit of coming over and clinging to me during every break period. Hey, it's not like I came out and said she could do this. My hands are clean.
人の温かさというのはなかなか心地よくてな。
That reasoning sounded like a puppy or kitten attached to its mother or something.
やっぱり留学生には日本語が難しいのかもな。
Shuji looked worried about Crow. Or rather, she was just making a fool of herself. Well, let's just give her time to relax. I grabbed Crow by the scruff of the neck and dragged her out of the room with me, a gesture I was getting awfully accustomed to doing by now.